Hey, what's happening? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here. I am Chris, and this is Cool Cars with Chris. And on today's fantastic episode, Courage has got that really cool Hyundai Elantra N car. The N is for performance and horsepower and cool things like that. But also, he takes that car to the track because he's trying to get a really quick time with his Hyundai Elantra N. And he's tapping into that really cool Octane Learn. It's a Hyundai Elantra N specialty. So we'll find out about this. Plus, also, if you have a car, a expensive car, you got to do some maintenance on that car. $20,000, $30,000 cost for, say, an oil change on what? A Bugatti Veyron. That's just crazy money right there. And topping it off, we're talking about what's it like being a content creator, whether you are a YouTuber or podcaster or a Instagram influencer or TikTok or TikTokian, whatever they called. We're talking about all that stuff on this episode. Let's go. Hey, what's happening? How are you doing? I am here with the coolest car podcast in the coolest world ever. With Courage. How you doing today, buddy?
Coolest world ever. I'll take it. Forget about all those other worlds. This is the coolest world.
Man, you know what? You know what? What would the world be without cars? Let me tell you. It would be like Little House on the Prairie. Really is what it'd be. It'd be like wagons and Amishville.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like there's places where, again, they just don't, they know that it exists, but they don't buy into it. And it was interesting. I saw a while back, guy posted, he lives in an area where a lot of Amish folks live, and they, drive their horse-drawn carriages, and he drives, fancy cars and things like that. And he has neighbors where he's passing them while they're in their horse-drawn carriages, waving to them in the morning, and that's just their life, Yeah.
I mean, it is. And sometimes when you work on a car long enough and it breaks on you enough times, you're probably thinking, maybe I will go Amish. Maybe they got something to this, maybe, I get it, it's
You're
possible.
Like mid project that you throw the wrench down. Screw this. I'm going back.
Do you think maybe that the Amish think about modifying their buggies with splitters and wings on the back, rims?
No, but I would suspect that you would because a lot of times they'll have the horse, but then they'll have the carriage itself, and it'll be pretty decked out. I bet you any money there's got a whole sound system built into a carriage and
what powers it though? Is it got to be
yeah?
They don't have electricity either, do they? I don't think they do. Maybe solar. I don't know.
Yeah, they probably get a little creative to make something like that work. But I bet there's car shows, but their version of car shows in the Amish community. I bet you any money.
Horse show is really what it is. Really, horse and plow and buggy and things like that. Well, that's something I don't have to worry about. So, we have cars here, especially in Southern California. There's so many cars on the road, and I know that. I mean, there's a lot of EVs on the road now these days too, but I wonder if people who have EVs today, with gas prices being as high as they are today, if they're just laughing all the way to the bank. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wonder if it's hard to even get an EV today. Say, you went to order one right now. I wonder if it's a waiting list. Just because
demand's probably gone up, for sure. There was a meme floating around too, or a little short clip where it's from some movie where they captioned it, and it's it's captioned when you bought that V8 and then gas prices started to go up, and it's basically Denzel Washington yelling at this guy. It's is this fun? Is this fun now? Yeah. Are you having fun?
Well, you know what it is? I knew a guy years and years ago. I used to work with this guy. He had a big giant F350 he bought used. It was lifted, B350, big V8, V10, I think it was. And when you get that truck, I got it during that, this is a long time ago, when they had a big gas crisis back then, which is probably a good deal compared to today's prices. But anyways, he was saying he got it during the gas crisis at a used car lot because they were just giving away pretty much because no one would buy it because it was gas was super expensive like it is right now. And so it's probably, if you're looking to buy maybe a V8 or something like that, it might be a good time to buy one, especially a used one, because people aren't buying them.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, surprisingly, it's just as strong as the car community is now. Sadly, I think people are still just saying, "Hey, I want what I want, and I'm still going to buy a big V8 or whatever." But that would be nice.
Or a diesel truck. Do you see the price of diesel lately?
No,
As the time I record this, it's averaging, I think, somewhere in the 730, 750 per gallon range.
Is that statewide or nationwide?
San Diego County.
No, San Diego County itself. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. I mean, I've actually got it myself. I've seen diesel for it was like 750 a gallon. This was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's around there, yeah.
Small tangent, but I think you were the one who kind of told me about this in the past. But when I was driving on that back road and I had to get gas at the off-brand gas station a little while ago, I saw they basically had like a diesel section where they had diesel fuel, but they had the different types of like just kind of a regular diesel, and then they had the red dye diesel, I think, that you had told me about. Yeah. I never saw that in person, but when I saw it, I was like, oh, I remember Chris was telling me about that, and it says on there that like you're not allowed to use this for like commercial use, and
they actually will check the tanks, and there's a fine for that. The DOT has like a little toolkit that they will randomly check your fuel, and they'll put a little sample thing into your tank, because the tank on the fuel tanks are big, so you can put like a straw or a stick in there, and so they put this little thing in your tank, and they actually look at the actual fuel. Maybe it might be a little Q-tip kind of thing or something like that. Anyways, if it's pink at all, you've had red dye in your system at one point. It has to be completely clear. If there's any pink to it at all, it's a fine. I don't think they shut you down. They may have you suck it out, whatever. I mean, the fuel literally, it's exactly the same fuel as it is.
I was going to ask, like, what's the difference?
The only difference is it's dyed. And the only reason why they dye it is just so they can mark it. They can physically mark the fuel, so that they can physically see this is the wrong type of fuel for like highway vehicles. It has to be like an off-road vehicle, like a generator or a backhoe or a something or other construction-wise.
And is it cheaper? Like, is it essentially cheaper to buy because it's for that use?
I think there's no state taxes on it, or no roadway taxes on it. So regular fuels, there's taxes on regular fuels, and the regular fuel taxes pay for the roads and all that kind of crap, right? And so with the red dye fuel, there's none of that taxes on there. I mean, far as like dollar to dollar, I don't know what the price is, but that's kind of what I know, and that's how they market, so they catch you.
Really. So they can catch you, yeah. Because if you're trying to skirt it and say, hey, I'm going to save money, because I'm not getting taxed, or it's cheaper because of that. But
I've done it before, where I was at a job site delivering red dye to a construction site, and the foreman on the job site's got his diesel truck or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, can you fill me up?" I said, "I got red dye." He said, "Don't worry about it. I don't care. Don't worry about it." Are you sure? I said, "Yeah, don't worry about it." Okay, buddy, you're lost. And so I threw it in there, whatever. But the thing is, if you take it to the dealership, you get it serviced or whatever, they pull the filter out, they'll see pink in there, pink or whatever, and they'll like, I don't know if they report it, but they let you know, like, hey, you put red dye in this, didn't you? At some point, or whatever. So there's that. But they get their money somehow. It's only designed for like generators, anything that's off-road, off the highway.
I wonder if I can run my mini bike off of it.
Does it take diesel?
No, it doesn't. It takes just, yeah.
I would be surprised if it took diesel. I mean, I think it'd be, I don't know, like, no, I mean.
Yeah, no.
But some of those generators, all those generators take diesel, and they are loud, and they take big, massive tanks. And I only can imagine what it takes to fill those things up and fill up even a regular semi truck. It costs a lot of money, to fill up. And these tanks are 200-300 gallon tanks, maybe 300 gallon, but 200 gallons. And at $7.50 a gallon, man, that's like $1,000 or something like that.
And like work wise for our for job sites when they're powering them while we're still doing construction for like trailers and all of that, they usually have diesel generators, and they're big, multi-kilowatt, hour kilowatt generators.
Like 3,000-4,000 gallon tanks on there.
Yeah. And they have to make sure that it's like, if it goes down, like a lot of times if that's power and other critical stuff, like that's a big issue. So they always have to make sure that's topped off. So it's never a question of, if we're going to fill it up, it's like we have to. And so budget lines are like, making sure that they account for the fact that we have to, how much fuel, like how long is the generator going to be running? How much fuel do we need? And we just have to buy it. So, there's a lot of industries that strictly depend on it. And when the cost goes up, that's more overhead that you got to pay,
The cost, everything goes up when that happens. So today you took your car, which is the Hyundai Elantra N series car. What year is your car, by the way?
22.
2022. What year did they first come out with the Elantra version of that car?
That was the first year. 20.
First year.
So it was a late 21 model, but it was a 20. It
Before
was
that, they
model,
had was it the Veloster N they had before that, and then they had was the Kona N maybe. I'm thinking of, was that before or after yours?
That was before. Yeah. So I think the Kona N came the same year. I have to fact check that, but I think the Kona N came the same year as the Elantra N. And then, the Veloster N was like 2019. So that was the first that we got. I'm sure you probably know, but other markets have had other versions of N cars for a few years before we got ours. So everybody's always said they wanted them to bring the actual i30N hatchback to the US, because that's literally just like a GTI Golf R, kind of
the same shape or whatever.
The same shape, yeah. The Veloster was always a little different because it's actually a 3-door. Yeah.
I like the Veloster look of the Veloster. It looked very, very sporty. I mean, even like the base model one they had, which is not the N version, I guess the base model one. I remember the N did come out eventually. Did the N come first, or did they have like another version before the N come out? They had like the base model, then they had another one.
They had sort of that 2-generation thing with that too, where we kind of call the first gen the frog style, where it was like the rear end really like it just like now whenever I see it I just think of a frog, but it was a little bit more like shaped like it almost looked a little more SUV like, but it had like the 2 center exhausts in the middle, and that was like that was the original, and they had like the turbo version of that, which people
that's what I'm thinking
really
of. So the turbo version of that was not the N then?
No, that wasn't an N car at that point.
Oh, so it's just like a turboed version of the Veloster, like Veloster Turbo. I remember when that came out, yeah. And then the N came out after that, I'm guessing. So you took your N to the track today.
Yeah.
And what is it like going up there? And when you get up there, dumb question, I guess, do you go through the full tank of gas for quicker times or half a tank for quicker times?
That's actually a good question. Normally I would probably be like a half a tank just because of that. Yeah, like, technically weight.
Does it make a difference, really?
No, I mean, probably not, just in the distance of the track, because it's like we talked about, it's a really short, less than an eighth, mile track. Some folks still are like, man, you go there just to like run that short run, and it's just still fun because it's like all about the reaction time and how you launch and how much grip you get. But this time I did go with a full tank just because I just so happened to have filled up before, which I filled up with. Did it make a difference?
Faster, slower?
So I ran my best time out there this time around, but that was for different factors, I think. But I did run by 95 octane fuel from my little secret location up in Rancho Santa Fe.
Oh, is that the place that sells racing fuel?
Yeah, so they do sell 100, but then they sell 95, and then they sell 91.
What does it cost for that? Just curiosity here.
It was like
today
like $9 a gallon.
How many gallons you put in there?
12. So it was about $100. Which, it's not my usual get.
Now when you do that on your car, because you have the Octane Learn, how quickly does it adjust to that 95 octane?
It actually was a lot quicker than it has on 91, because usually when I'm like on a long highway drive is when it'll tend to do it. And I noticed, coming, because I had to actually go down to Santee that same evening that I fueled up, and then I came back up to Temecula that same night. And I noticed halfway into the drive that it actually was starting to pull like the higher like 20 PSI boost. And
so that's how you know, is the boost goes up?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you tell whether it's working or not?
Yeah. It's such a cryptic, kind of archaic thing where like if I go to pass somebody, like, go around somebody in 6th gear and I notice that like, full throttle, it only goes to like 15 PSI. I'm like, oh, well, it's not Octane Learn. And then all of a sudden you'll go to pass and you'll feel like, oh, this is like a bit faster. You look down and it's like, it pegs between like 18 to 20 PSI. There's no light. There's no other warning you get other than
I wish you could have like something on the dash that says something. You have a whole digital display. You could have something pop up and saying something like Octane Learn in effect or activated or something like that.
I've thought about this for a while, why they potentially haven't done it, because again, they have like the facelift version came out in 24. And so that was like sort of the second generation of the Elantra N, and they still never added that. I'm starting to think that the reason they didn't is because, and I don't want to out Hyundai because, I don't want them to have any issues down the road. But I think that there was issues with, you remember the Volkswagen Dieselgate kind of thing where they said that basically like the car could switch like its emissions and things like that to pass better, but then like it would get better fuel economy.
That was a big sell on it, though. It was like better fuel economy and better for the environment too. A lot of people buy Volkswagens are probably like hippies and stuff like that. So like I get they bought into that. Yeah.
Yeah. But my thought is that it might potentially cause issues with just regulations if you have something that, clues you in to say like all of a sudden like you have more performance than the car questionably has like stock.
And what's wrong with that?
Again, I don't think anything's wrong with it, but apparently, like I said, that was a big issue for that with the Volkswagen Gate deal, and I think it's just for them, it would just cause some headaches that they're not wanting to deal with. So, at the end of the day, a lot of people just end up getting a car like fully ECU tuned, or get a spare ECU that's tuned with a different tune on it, and it kind of negates it. I'm the one that's still dealing with it, but again, it's first world problem. The car still feels pretty
first
quick.
World problems, man.
Yeah, first world problem heavily for sure, but the car felt great out there at the track today. I like I said, ran my best time out there.
Are you on your new tires?
I am. Yeah, I took the drag tires out there, air quotes. For that.
Now they just the front to get all four.
No, so I'm thinking about if I were to actually take it to a circuit track to potentially get a set that will fit my stock tires or my stock wheel size and get the same tires in the back, because they are really, really great track tires. They, the Michelin Pilot Sports that come on stock are pretty great tires just all around. Like they give really good performance, but you can still get some daily drivability out of them. These Toyos are not ones that you want to be daily drive. Like, the car makes, if you like lifted trucks with like the big, like meaty tires, when you hear like the noise that they make when they're like at, kind of high speeds on the highway.
Sound, you mean?
That whistling noise.
Yeah.
These tires make that noise when you're like around like 65, 70 miles an hour. So, they're not for like long commutes and driving around and they have a really low, what's it called? Tread wear rating.
Oh, so they kind of wear out faster?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So instead of like being like 50,000 mile tire, probably closer to 20 or 30.
They're about 20,000. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people on like the ratings when I was looking at them, they're like, 15 to 20,000 miles or so. So you really would want these to be like your track tires. But I am thinking about potentially getting a set for the backs if I were to ever like really take it to a track to have some really good performance out of them. But yeah, they're holding up well. Luckily, I really only use them when I go out there. So I'm pretty sure mines will last for a while. But
oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Now, was it busy out there today?
It was. Yeah.
It's a nice day on a Saturday. I mean, it's a nice day out there. I get it. So did you guys wait very long between sessions? Like, long wait time?
Yeah, as we were talking about before this, there was they've done this before, but they tried to do bracket racing this time around, which basically all it means is that, if you have 2 or 3 runs to dial in a specific time, like whatever your, consistent time is, you test and tune until you kind of lock in a time. And then the goal for like every other subsequent run is to run as close to that time as possible. And so you'll do that like 3 or 4 times until like they get to a point where there's, 2 cars that are running against each other. They had some issues with how the tree was sort of cluing people in to start, and then how it was like timing them afterwards, where there was just so much confusion on who won, who didn't win that bracket. And so there was a probably good close to 30 or 40 minutes where like they were just trying to deliberate and figure out who was going from round 1 to round 2. And so we're all just kind of sitting around and, it got pretty hot out there kind of midday. So we're kind of hanging around, and there were some folks that were still doing the test and tune. So they were still just kind of doing their passes and things like that. But all in all, I know it whenever you try anything new, you're always going to run into some quirks and things like that. But, it was a little bummer that really I only got, 5 runs when comparatively, like I would probably be closer to 10, if not more. Even with the number of cars that were there, normally you would still get a good amount of runs. But if you
could, how many runs would ideally you'd want to do at a session up there? Like how long do you stay there? That kind of stuff. I don't even know.
About like 2 or 3 hours, I would say.
In those 2 or 3 hours, how many runs would you like to do?
Like 10 or 15. That's like, yeah, that's because it's such a short track that like it is. I always joked that it's over before it started, because it's like, you get your hit, you go, and you're back in line. But it is still like exhilarating when you're doing it. But yeah, 10 to 15 runs, like, yeah, you're consistently probably every 10 minutes or so getting a run, maybe even less than that. And so it's just kind of the constant flow of action, versus, like I said, today, we got a couple of, good ones at the beginning, but after a while, we were sitting around for 30, 40 minutes, not doing anything. And,
is there a place to hang out, or you just hang out in your car?
No, you just, hang out outside the car, or inside the car if you get tired of standing out in the sun. So
there's no like waiting room or waiting area or anything like that, is there?
If you're racing in the staging area, not a lot, but they do have like a whole section for, spectators, and they have food and some vendors and stuff like that.
I guess. Gosh, yeah. I'd just imagine the place being like a parking lot.
It almost is, but they've started to kind of build some stuff and kind of have some vendors. There were 2 separate fires actually that broke out while we were there. Not to derail.
Like car fires or like wildfires?
Wildfires, actually.
Oh wow.
We were out there, and like, the first one, we were like, what's that smoke over there? And there was a guy who actually is a wildland firefighter that was there today. He was like, oh, that's a fire. Like, let's see how quickly they put it out. And they put that one out in like 20 minutes. So it was pretty quick. Good. And then probably not even 30 minutes later, like all the way, far away on the other direction, there was another one that broke out. That one went for a little bit longer, and I was starting to kind of worry because that was the direction that I was going to get home. But,
if it did block the road, if the fire hit your path home, how would you get home from there?
I'm sure there's some roundabout way, because we were in Paris, and
I don't know the area, so I don't know. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't know. Like, the
215 is your main, highway to get out.
Is there another road that goes around the 215, like a side road or something?
There probably is. Yeah,
15, I guess. But they all bottleneck in Temecula there. So I don't know. Like, I remember when fire broke out here in San Diego years and years ago. If anybody was like east of Alpine, had to go out to the desert, and I made it back. I was at my brother's place or whatever out that way, and the fire was blocking the fire was on the freeway, like blocking the freeway. And so he had to I went the back way home here, so I'll make it out of there. But I guess everybody who lived there was out there because Alpine got torched. They all went to like the desert or whatever, like out that way. And so it kind of to figure out like your way home and like kind of know like it's basic common sense to have like a good evacuation route or a way to like figure out a way to get around or get home or get where you got to be. Sometimes you can't because sometimes where you live or the roads or who knows what, But you had a good time today running your car out there. Let me ask you a question though, Courage, here about your end car and all your cool times. What is your goal with running your car out there? Like, what is your ultimate goal? Like, you keep getting tires and faster times and Octane learning at 95 Octane, but what is the ultimate goal?
Yeah, good question. Really, I just want to get into the 5s, like, that 5 second range.
So what do you get now? 6?
It literally was like 6.0, so like 6.05, 6.05 was like my best time out there. 6.051.
Are you going to get a license plate frame or something that says 5.0 or whatever, 5.0 second flat or whatever?
Well, I wish, yeah. 5.0 time is like, yeah, that's there is like super quick. Like, there's a couple of guys that are in that realm, but yeah, it definitely, in my head, I'll have like I'm in the 5 club if I'm able to crack
whatever,
into
I'm saying, like once you get break into the 5s, we was 5.9, whatever it is. Yeah. Are you going to like get a t-shirt sticker for the back window? What are you going to do?
Honestly, not. It is really just going to live rent free in my mind and my mind only, probably.
You got to get video of it though. You have to get video.
Yeah, no, it has. Yeah, content or it didn't happen.
You're always recording. Every time you go, I'm assuming you're recording, right?
Always three cameras going. Like I had.
What cameras you got? What are they?
That 360 cam, I had that on the back. I have the Insta 360, like the little GoPro style inside the car. I have my meta glasses.
Shooting down the front of the windshield?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you got the glass on your head, the meta glasses, right?
Yep.
Are those meta glasses in 4K? Or are they just 1080p or what are they?
I think they're 1080p and they only shoot in portrait as well. So like if you're using it for like long form and you want to get landscape, you have to crop in to get it to like, it won't naturally.
Oh, so it's like made for like Instagram?
It's made for social media. Instagram. Yeah.
Well, I see a lot of people use them all the time for stuff. Instagram. I always kind of wonder how they're filming it. I mean, I'm assuming they're all doing meta glasses. They're doing like interactions on the street and like inside the casino dealing cards and things like that. You're not supposed to have cameras going.
You're not about to have like a camera just like this.
Right.
So.
Or whatever and things like that. So, but see, all three
I actually
cameras
brought the drone out too, actually.
Are you allowed to use it out there?
Yeah, I know the guy there, the one of the guys that runs it, and the guy that owns it, and then one of the other guys that does media. So they're usually cool with me kind of bringing and just getting a few clips here and there. Some people that like didn't work at the track didn't really know that, and so I could hear them in the background like, "Oh, there's a drone here. They're not supposed to be here. This and that," and like,
"Turn it down." Throwing beer bottles at it and stuff.
Yeah, and so I was like, even though I know that they're cool with me doing it. Like
drones, dude. I wanted to buy one for years. I've always wanted a drone. I thought they're super, super cool. I love drone video and footage, and I was like, always wanted to buy one, but I'm like, with all these rules and stuff, I was like, where do you even fly the thing? Like, I'm like, well, why would I buy something that I can't use? That's kind of how I feel about drones. I mean, I could think of like these cool video. I got sucked into a wormhole of like all these cool drone videos, beach shots, wave shots, flying really fast doing the loops and stuff and doing all this cool stuff. Like, yeah, this looks like pretty cool. But,
there was a point where, because I got into it really like right in like 2016, 17, when they did the whole like FAA Part 107 license thing. Like I took courses on it, and like, there was a group of folks that was like, kind of one of the first that had that in San Diego. And that was when I really was like trying to kind of build a business out of it and everything. And there got to a point, like you said, that it just started getting so heavily regulated that, it's like, there's so much going into just being out, just to go out and get a little bit of footage here and there. And so I put it down for a while. I actually still have that Phantom 3, in my garage. I haven't touched the thing in years, but I got the small little DJI one that I use now. And that one I just love, because you literally just pull it out, throw it up in the air. It is noisy because it's so small, and the little motors are literally just like at going at 11,
like bees or whatever.
Yeah,
like it's smart bees. I saw one at Costco. I almost picked it up. I was staring at the thing for like 5 minutes, like reading the manual back and forth. Like, I wonder if this one Courage has or something. So it looks similar to what you have. I don't know. It was by, I forget what brand it was. I have a DJI. Because
it was DJI, because they have the Neo, but they also have the Mini, and some.
It was a small one like that. It looked like one you fold up like you have kind of deal, and it was, I think, $300 or $400. I remember correctly.
Yeah,
it was at Costco, and I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, then I think like, what am I going to use the thing?
Yeah, when am I going to use it?
Like, how am I going to use this? Can I use it? Like, how am I going to use it? Like for me, the coolest thing ever would be like be able to like drive and like have the thing follow me and like automatically follow the car, and like, like that'd be the ultimate goal for me, I think. But like,
mine has like those follow features, but they don't work for like you being in the car. That's the only, like, people have found workarounds. Like if you have sort of like have the window down and it's close enough where it can see your face, then it'll kind of work a little bit, but it won't follow you if it can't really see a person. So it won't just follow a car.
What's
per
the point in that? It's the whole fun. It's like have it follow the car, like all those drifting videos and things like that. That's what it's about, like.
Yeah.
Like,
you gotta have that other guy. That's why you should get one. It's like, I'll hire you to give me some drone shots of me driving or something.
All right, I have to go through a few drones. I'll run them over or something like that. Crash. I like to do a group crash him too. There was another Instagram account I saw somewhere. It was like drone fail videos. It was like people like dropping their drone in the water in like the ocean. Like, I'm gonna set the drone up and like trying to set up on the little edge of the boat, and then the drone just like falls in the water or whatever, and it's gone, kind of thing. So that's something also too with these drones, but. I think they're pretty cool. Like, I wanted to get one for years and I never did. And I'm still using the old GoPro cameras from way back in the day. I mean, they were upgrading, but GoPro's a new camera they're coming out with, a new one. It's called. I saw
you posted or you commented on.
What's it called? It was Mission 1. They're calling it. I don't think it's available yet, but it's supposed to be like cinematic quality, not just like GoPro. I guess And
so now you're getting more like, because I know with GoPros a lot of times it's just it's good at like those action shots and like the framing for those, but you can't really do. It's not really meant for much else.
A lot of movies use GoPros. They use you even the older GoPros, like the ones that I have, even older. They were using them in cinema because you can change the frame rate to 24 frames a second, like a cinema camera.
Yeah,
and things like that. So, but I'm not a big camera nerd, so I don't know what any of this stuff means. But I do know the new one's got a really like a 1-inch sensor on it, I think, which was like really big.
Yeah.
But the thing that gets me is that like, if you can get a camera like a GoPro, the new GoPro Mission one, with adapters and whatever, it may cost you $1,000 for all the extra crap you got to buy, maybe more, but still it's cheaper than a $5,000 like basic camera.
Yeah.
A basic cinema camera, like a Sony something or other, is like $5,000. And so, I mean,
and if you don't really know how to use that to its full capability as well, like a $5,000 camera, it's like kind of wasted anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, man. I think it looks cool. I mean, all the shots. I mean, I also like people that can take their iPhone and do some really cool stuff with their iPhone, just their iPhone. Do some really cool shots, footage, pictures, videos, all the cool things.
One thing on that I found interesting, again, I know there's no other podcasts out there in the world, so disregard this comment of another podcast that I was listening to. But
there other podcasts out there? Who knew?
Yeah, who knew?
Who even knew that was a possibility?
Who else is just talking and having conversations like this? But I was listening to another podcast about if you ever seen Forrest Auto Reviews, the guy curly haired, black guy. He does a lot of like, kind of the rapid fire.
Are they on Instagram, like quick cut kind of things, like Instagram stuff? Probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He kind of started doing it more on YouTube, but then obviously, like we talked about, kind of started bringing his footage over to other places. Actually, he started on TikTok first, and then I think he went YouTube. He tried some long form for a while, but he did an interview, on this podcast and kind of talked about how he built the channel to kind of where it is now. And the guy asked him like, so what are you guys using to film when you guys are doing this? And it's like, just an iPhone. And he's like, you gotten to the point with like multi-million subs and all these different platforms and everything, and you guys are still just using an iPhone? And he's like, yeah, it's like, it works, it's quick, like they barely even like kind of overly choreograph things. They just kind of go for it, do a take. If they don't like it, they retake it. Like, not a whole bunch of advanced planning. And it's pretty crazy what you can do with an iPhone camera, simply said.
They're really good. I wonder, for like that, for example, if they just buy the phone by itself, like not a carrier plan, or like just buy the phone just for the camera stuff.
Just for the camera?
Because think about it. Like, what's an iPhone? Because you can buy, with my iPhone's a 15, and I can plug in a USB-C, which is like puts in another, so you can plug in another like portable hard drive. You can save on it, right? Instead of using the actual camera, you can save directly to the hard drive. You can mount it on those cool fancy rigs they make. I've seen them, fancy iPhone rigs for shooting film and stuff with. You can rig one of those, buy the phone for maybe $1,000 or whatever in the rig. So you're in for like $2,000, whatever, which is just cheaper than $5,000. And they shoot pretty decently, I would think. I don't know. I mean, I don't like to shoot a lot of stuff on my iPhone, to tell you the truth, unless I'm out and about. It's the only camera I have. Or quick videos and quick, selfie videos, things like that. But I don't like to fill up my iPhone, memory with like stuff, whatever. Although I don't know if it's filled up or not. But
just had to deal with that because I save a lot of my. Yeah, I save a lot of my like clip, like kind of short form clips.
You send it over to your phone, don't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
To make, because I'll use like edits or like other like phone based stuff when I'm just doing like a small Instagram reel, and so I ran into that, and I found out actually the issue wasn't those videos I was bringing over. It's the fact that DJI, the Fly app for my drone, it saves logs and things like of your flight records and all of that. And I went into the database to see like, okay, like how much is in here. And I literally, it was like 2 or 3 minutes of scrolling of all these like files that get saved every time you fly. And so it built up so much over time that I think it was like 25 gigs worth of files that were saved from that DJI app. And then all with everything else, it was at like the maximum capacity. So I had to basically delete the app, then reinstall it.
No way.
So that it deleted all of the logs and everything and kind of started fresh. And again, now I got, almost 30 gigs free on my phone now. So
how much memory is your iPhone? Which one do you have?
120, I think.
128?
120 gig. Yeah. The 120. Yeah. 128 gig. So, which I think usable. I think you can only use 120. That's probably why I was remembering that. But
I think mine's a Big Daddy. I think mine's either a gig,
the 250, or really,
or no, the terabyte or the half terabyte. Oh, that's a half terabyte. That's right. I remember specifically because my older laptop was also a half terabyte, like 512, and so the phone was 512. So the phone and my computer are basically the same storage space. But I got extra hard drives floating around here. I back up everything on extra hard drives and all that kind of stuff. And with cloud storage too, you can store things in the cloud and things like that, which makes it very useful. But out there today, filming with your 3 cameras and getting it going and everything, have you ever worried about one falling off the car, like the one in the back? Has you ever done it?
No, I've been lucky, and I I obviously make sure, especially with the mount, the 360 mount, that
and
it's
that's
like
the most
on
expensive
there.
camera, all of them, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So how would make sure that was like glued to the car?
Yeah, and it gets a little hairy because like the stick, the invisible stick that like when you shoot,
the
it
mounting
actually
stick,
it makes it invisible, so you can't really see like the bar itself. You can see the mounting post, and there's ways to edit it out, but the mounting stick sometimes flexes when you like go over bumps and stuff like that. So I've watched footage later and like seeing that it actually like gets pretty, like you can see like it bouncing in the back. And I've been like looking in my rearview mirror sometimes thinking like, oh, is this gonna hold? And it's never let me down. Like I should have full confidence in it, but every once in a while you kind of worry about it a little bit. But
yeah, that's the thing with me. I don't have any. I was looking at sticks like the one you have. I was looking at ones for my cameras. They make a bunch out there, a bunch of different brands and things like that. I could do one for mine, but I don't think I would get the full invisible stick like you get. I'd probably get like, I don't know how it would look. Like what would I see if I had like a stick like yours back in my car with my GoPro?
Well, we did when we went out to Willow Springs.
Yeah, but you had the 360. I'm talking about with like a old regular
with
GoPro.
the regular Go. Yeah, that'll be kind of a different, because it will be wide angle, but I think you're gonna get like the stick in the shot,
mount and everything and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and it depends how you angle it, whether you get the car or you get just above the car, kind of a thing, or whatever. But so you got all 3 cameras going. You roll all the things. Are you going to put a video together from what you did today?
So potentially, something I've been running into with my channel particularly is I can't really, like, I haven't really gotten a lot of viewership from videos that are just like a specific event. It's usually I try and like mix it in with something else that I'm doing. And like I'm not always doing projects on the car, so it makes it kind of tough sometimes. But I've noticed like even the last video I posted, even though it's kind of gotten stagnant the last few days, initially like there were a lot of like comments, a lot of likes, a lot of views, because people were actually and a lot of retention because people were interested because I was doing the inlet install and like they were
actually working on the car videos. I think those do better. I think those do better. If you're showing like how to install something kind of stuff, I'm sure those do way better than track videos. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Yeah. And so now what I've been doing is, kind of throwing in, like, adding in a second element to the video to say, stick around because we're going to do this. Like we're going to Willow Springs, or KDM Day is actually the next one that, I want to throw in there and throw some footage from there with another project that I worked on a few weeks ago. And so this one will probably make it into some video at some point, but I just don't know exactly when, because I'm not going to use it as the main focus. Like I'll probably do some Instagram reels on it. And just, kind of because I did get some really good like past clips, like with the glasses and everything. But a full video, like it'll probably be in one. I just don't know when. So
do you think the algorithm's like out to get you right now? Because I think a lot of people are complaining about that. The algorithm's like a lot of viewership's kind of like, because it goes up and down with, algorithms and whatnot and stuff. Do you think there's any issue with algorithm stuff?
I just think it's, certain content just isn't really getting prioritized right now. Like, you start to notice that, whatever's trending. And right now there's just a lot of stuff like in the news and, politics and all of that kind of stuff that's really getting pushed a lot more than.
Yeah, but a lot of the kids that like, but a lot of kids like the car stuff. Like they like the car channel cars. They don't care about the politics stuff. So like, I don't think it affects them, as much. So it all kind of depends who your audience really is. And I think, I don't know.
I've been taking it. I've honestly been taking your advice where we talked about it before. How really building like a YouTube or an Instagram platform or whatever. You have an algorithm to like, even if in the now right now you're not really getting the results you're expecting to get, it can just change. In an instant where the algorithm pushes it in some random way or whatever. And so I've just kind of kept that in mind, that even though right now, like I don't feel like my videos are getting like the views that I really think they should with the amount of effort.
Not the millions, you down to 100,000.
Man, I just want I just want to hit the 1,000 subscribers right now. That's all I'm so close. Like I'll get like little spikes here and there.
Well, you will after this video goes posted.
Just
goes out.
Go sub, sure. just pity sub if you want.
Pity sub. But you know what's funny? Okay, you know what's funny? I did hear something. Okay, speaking of video, like are you aware about how Apple Podcasts is now? Well, they've been into video podcasting for a while, a long time ago, but they kind of shut it down. They're kind of getting back into it. You hear about this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so Spotify has video and audio on their app, whether you watch the podcast in video or audio, whatever. So Apple Podcasts is kind of getting the same game, but Apple Podcasts doesn't host anything. So the way you get video up into Apple Podcasts is through a media host that actually supports video podcasts, and then they have it all set up and it gets sent over there. So it's very similar to the way Spotify does it, but Spotify does it all in-house, so they're all in one place. So Apple Podcasts is doing it. But this is what I heard, though. Someone made a comparison. Everybody was saying, like, hey, why bother paying extra money to do a video here? Just go to Apple Podcasts. Why don't you send your audience to YouTube or whatever, and they can subscribe on YouTube and become a subscriber on YouTube, whatever. The problem is, I've noticed this too with YouTube. I subscribe on one of my accounts, I kid you not, to like 200 different channels, right? And for the longest time, I thought they all were dead. I thought they weren't making any content. It turns out the algorithm is blocking me from seeing the things I subscribe to. And the algorithm actually blocks your content that you want to subscribe to. It blocks that stuff so you can't actually see it. It really is focusing on getting new stuff out to you, like new videos and new creators in front of you and pushing new stuff. And I realized that they're saying that like almost every algorithmic platform does this. Mm-hmm. The same thing with like you follow people on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. You may see their stuff, but you'll see a lot of other stuff too. But I'm seeing it big on YouTube because there's a bunch of channels I followed, and I'm like, where's their stuff? Are they like not making content anymore? I guess they were, but I never saw it. And so with Apple stuff, they're saying with the advantage of if you want to do something in Apple is that with podcasting, every single thing you subscribe to, you see in your feed, and that's it. Nothing else. That's all you see. Now Apple might be changing the game, adding some suggestions and things like that, but the things you subscribe to, you will see. So if you're doing video on Apple Podcasts, your viewers will see that video, or at least see that video to see that video, kind of thing. Where with YouTube being an algorithm, I'm only seeing stuff that they decided to throw in front of me, which is very frustrating,
Yeah, no, and I feel like it's like a double-edged sword because I can see the benefit because, like you said, like you're probably going to get some recommendations from some smaller channels or ones that you would have never come across before, and it seems like more so that they're using maybe your sub, like what you sub to now open the door to suggest other things that might be related to that. Maybe not. Like I got a lot of things that I'm like not, that I don't sub to. It's not a genre that I really have searched on my own.
But it comes up in your channel though, right? It comes up your feed or whatever.
Yeah. So there's that where I really just don't know where a lot of that's coming from. But, the benefit is that, like maybe there's smaller creators that will maybe get some videos in front of some people that they wouldn't because of that. But yeah, to your point is like, you originally subbed to whatever channels you did because you were interested in their content. And then all of a sudden, even though they're making more content, you're not getting suggested that content. It seems a little weird. Or
it might be like at the bottom, like if you go on YouTube, it has like that first row of stuff and like a middle row of some stuff. And there's probably rows of stuff way at the bottom. They're probably way down there. And you never make it that far, because you click on one and then it shows you like suggestions for other things like that. Kind of stuff or whatever and things like that. So that's the game you got to play if you're going to deal with the algorithm world. It kind of sucks, but that's kind of it. Like we're all dealing with it. We're all trying to figure out and get our stuff in front of people. But I think like there's ways to cheat the system. Like anything. I mean, money makes the world go round. The more money you can spend, more money on whoever, whatever, to like fluff your numbers, fluff your subscribers, fluff your whatever.
Yeah.
It goes on and on and on.
So many people have talked about that, how, in the immediate that it might, show some benefit in, in your counts and your view count or even your sub count. But long run, a lot of times, like they're not coming back. And so therefore,
but that's the thing. I couldn't figure that out because even if someone subscribes to me anyways, they like my stuff, they subscribe. But YouTube was like, well, you subscribe to that channel, but we're going to show you something else.
Here's something else. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so you're like, what the hell, man? Like, I mean, that's why I think one creator told me that YouTube subscribers don't matter as much, but it's easier for him to say. He's got like 100,000 subscribers,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
a lot of times you get this advice from people that have like,
totally. Totally. Like, just
I've
post
gotten
whatever.
it already. Like, yeah,
I got 1 million subs. It doesn't matter, whatever, like it's so easy, just post you doing nothing and then you make like $1 million, dollars and, whatever. And all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of weird. Like taking advice from people that are like on the mountaintop, and beyond the mountaintop. It's like, I don't know, but speaking of cars and cool things on the mountaintop, you were telling me earlier about the Veyron?
Oh yeah,
Bugatti. Yeah. So what happened to the? What happened to
little
Bugatti?
unobtainium. Yeah, we do. I know we don't tend to talk about the unobtainium stuff on the podcast.
I know, like the car. When I think of the Veyron, I think of like the first thing you said it today. I was thinking like, oh yeah, that car you find at Walmart in the toy section for their remote control. That's what that's the car, right?
Yeah.
You see it as a remote control toy car for Christmas. That's what I think of.
Yeah, because it's not something you're seeing, like,
or the
in
Bentleys.
reality.
There used to be the Bentleys to be the one, but definitely the Veyron was one that was like a remote control, like toy car. I'm like, okay, that's cute and all, but so what's going on with that play? Now, did they drop down in price? Can we pick one up today? What's going on?
On talking YouTube, if Ed Boley and the VinWiki guy, he's I don't know if he still has his. I think he does. Actually, no, I think Hoovy had one too, but the one that he bought was just in shambles and all kinds of stuff going wrong for him to even get it for the price he got it for, which was still like insane. So unfortunately, no, we're not. We haven't hit the depreciation floor for those to the point where we might have one, but.
I don't think I even want one. I think they're ugly. No. So I think they're ugly looking cars.
So many people have said, again, yeah, looks are subjective. Your opinion, obviously, some other people share that too. But the biggest thing is just like what it would take to keep that car any type of semblance.
What's the oil change cost that thing?
I mean, there's only some certain people that's going to do it. First of all,
do they make like special parts? Like I remember that when the Apple original Mac computer came out, they had like special tools to open the back. Do they have the same thing on this car where it's like special type of tools to like pull the filter off?
100%. Yeah.
Or open the hood or change the tires, like special tools you can't buy.
And we're talking the Veyron, but I mean, the Chiron and all the other special versions of those, like those all are going to be, all these particular situations to do just the simplest of things is definitely, it's built into the price for sure. But the interesting thing just about it, and more just a high level that I thought would be good to just chat about, is just the fact that, and I looked that up actually, a typical oil change could cost anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000.
The price of a car. Literally the price of a car.
It's like you were thinking about a car. No, you have to maintain this prized possession of yours.
Here's the thing. I wonder if you bought the car and you want to do everything yourself, could you? Or do you have to go? I mean, could you physically? If you think about the car cash, it's your car. You do whatever you want with the car. Could you change the oil yourself? Is it possible, or is it like locked? There's like a lockbox on the oil filter, as I'm saying.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I'm saying it's like you buy a house where you can knock a wall down, you can do whatever you want. It's your house, you can paint it however you want, whatever.
Well, that's a good point though, because when it comes to like older, I won't say older now, but yeah, that car is it's getting on 20 years old now at this point. And that is, you can get away with that kind of stuff. But one of the big things people are fighting against now is that modern cars, within this decade, really they're having walls where software limitations on being able to do certain things. And a lot of cars, McLaren has been famous for it, where they've started to make their engine bays inaccessible without literally basically taking the car apart to get to it. So there's points, and the Veyron's probably somewhat similar in that, like it would take a whole lot to really get in there and really do something major. But there's getting a point where people are not able to do the things that they were able to do to, do the cars because the manufacturer just felt like, we don't need you doing that. We want you to come to us. So,
make our money. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine? I don't know if this is possible. Can you imagine if like the Veyron makes you like take the engine out just to change the wiper blades?
Yeah. There's some module that you have to change first to then change the wiper blades. And,
you got to remove the all-out engine service just to change the wiper blades or whatever. I mean, people will still buy it though. That's the sad part. People will still buy that, knowing that. But I think if you're so rich, you have so much. We're talking like buy yachts, like nothing.
You're taking these cars to you're not driving these cars as often really as like anybody's driving their regular cars, and you got somebody that's like maintain them for you probably at that point. And there's a small majority of people that really probably know anything about what it takes to even owning it, like know anything about, and no knock on them. Like if you got to the point where you can get everything that you need taken care of with the car, and you just get in it and go and enjoy it for a while, let it, and then go store it away for a while, like more power to you. But there's a lot of people that probably don't have any idea what it really would take to have that car going. They just have somebody that takes care of it for them. And, again, cool spot to be in, but there's something about when you really are in the cars is kind of knowing like your maintenance schedule and like, this is what it takes to do this, this maintenance item or whatever. Like, I just kind of take pride in that. Maybe it's just because I'm not wealthy. So I kind of, because I can't, I have to pay to
oh, of course. I think it's most people, but I think a lot of people take it one step further. Like when they buy or lease a car from a dealership, they'll, do the option of like the service option, and they'll do like whatever else option. So they don't have to worry about that stuff, kind of thing on top of that, whatever deal. But you're still paying a payment and all that kind of stuff. So what's going on with Bugatti? Are they out of business yet?
We'll see. So Bugatti kind of had its resurgence back when they had like the EB110 and those cars, that car in the 90s. But the Veyron was really kind of this big, sort of back to reality for Bugatti after being like post-war, basically company that was really thriving back then and kind of died out. And the reason why they kind of had that resurgence was because of Volkswagen Audi group. They purchased Bugatti, they owned a stake in Bugatti, and that, funding helped them really create the Veyron, and from there create the Chiron, and turn into, again, this global company now that you're producing these multi-million-dollar cars.
Who was the first person to buy the first, like, supercar from Bugatti, you think? After Volkswagen took them over? Because you think about it, because if they were kind of like, I don't know the history on Bugatti, but if they were kind of like a lesser brand and then Volkswagen comes in and builds them up, some sucker had to be the first guy to buy the first like supercar that they came out with. It must have been super cool. And they must have had like this crazy marketing scheme or something.
To be sort of the guinea pig for...
Yeah, because what kind of history do they have before that, kind of a thing? I mean, some of these car brands have such history, like Ferrari, Lamborghini, and things like that. So, I mean, Ferrari comes out with something, you already know what Ferrari is. You've heard of Ferrari. But at that point, I kind of wondered, like, if, Bugatti, if they were like kind of a nothing company before they became big, the first person to buy them, maybe the guy was so rich, or girl, who knows, was so rich, he didn't care. Like drunk one night, yeah, whatever. There's a couple $1 million in this car, whatever,
Well, the interesting thing about that too is that you get, when you get to that level of, you could buy anything. Like you have all of these options of, these cars that you could get, but you're also surrounded by a lot of people that can also get those same cars. A lot of times people just want to be different. Like they want to feel like
be the first. Like some of these early investors, you think, they might jump on something early, thinking it's worth more in the future, things like that. I don't know if they get tips from that information. I mean, they got money to spend on stuff. I mean, who knows? Like that's another level of wealth that I will probably never in my lifetime even come close to.
Yeah.
Not even sit in the same room with, kind of close to.
I mean, honestly, like a dream of mine's is just to like, to potentially have like a car that I like, spec'd out, like, to say that like this is, and it could be anything. Like it doesn't have to be like a crazy, insane $1 million car. Like just to say like I ordered this car like with this spec, with this, with these seats, like with this material, with that, just to say that.
Most companies do that now these days. Like, almost everyone does that. If you go on their website, I think you can order pretty much everything.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying personally, like to be like I've never been able to do that. Like the N, I still bought used, even though it had 5,000 miles on it. Like
right, you didn't get to pick out the color and pick out the.
I didn't get to color, do all of that. And,
there was. But now, when you bought your car, was there other choices of ends on the lot you could have chose, like different colors or anything like that?
No, that was there was only 2 or 3 really in like a 100-mile radius that were for sale.
So you would have chosen a different color, would you?
It really, honestly, it was just it was trying to find a manual. Like, I was just heavy on trying to find a manual, and it was really hard to find them back then. And
same with the Z. I was the same with the Z. It was like trying to find a manual, and just ironically happened to be the same color as the car I used to have. Ironic. Yeah.
I almost bought a black one that was in Costa Mesa for sale that was also a manual. But that was actually one of the I didn't want another black car because I already owned one at the time. And
well, it'd match, I guess. Matchy. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just so hard to just like I'm one of those that like just obsesses about like my car doesn't have to be sparkling clean, but there's I get annoyed like when you see a black car that's got like water spots all over the place, and or you spent a good hour or so cleaning the car, and then all of a sudden like an hour later and it looks like you didn't do anything like that. That I feel like lighter colors hide that a lot better, and so
they might, yeah.
I didn't necessarily want a white car. I was, I always thought that white was kind of a little boring, to be honest. But the thing about the N that was cool was that, it has all of those red accents.
The red trim and things. Yes, it does. The red on the white kind of, I think it looks good. Because red on black kind of blends in too much. But I remember the Nismo version of the Z, of my Z. I think they got a white and red. White with some red accents around the splitter and the back, diffuser and things like that. They've got some red trim, I think, on those. So I get it. It works. I think even the lettering, it's like, red in there too and stuff like that. So Volkswagen, you said they're getting rid of all of their cool stuff or what?
So it was as of late, it was a weird kind of ownership structure, how Bugatti fit in with everything. But Porsche was actually the one who like owned some stake in Bugatti. And, there was the whole combination of Bugatti and Rimac, where they were basically, they're one company still at this point. But the main reason I was bringing that story up is just that it's sort of like an end of an era kind of thing where, the Volkswagen Audi group Bugatti was a totally different Bugatti than even what they had going on in the 90s. And now you're getting into this era where, again, they were bought by a private equity firm, which, we've seen with other companies how things get a little wonky when a non-car company owns like a majority stake in a car company. We were talking about Lamborghini. Like Lamborghini passed hands so many times in the late 80s, 90s. They were owned at one point by a random company called Megatech. Yeah,
Megatron was their CEO, I heard.
Yeah, Megatron was their CEO, and which, to be honest, is not that much of a stretch because the dude owned he owned Lamborghini, and he also owned a company called Vector. If you remember,
Vector. They make the body kits, I think, right? For the G35.
This was like a full on like car company. Like it was, I did a video actually, a small short on the company's history. But it was like a super small like American company. It was building these like insane spaceship type cars or whatever. And the company Megatech bought Vector, but the owner of Vector really thought that he was going to have more control over the company when he got bought. And they basically ended up hostilely taking over the company and taking it from him.
No way.
And then basically using like, what he had already been building for a new prototype car to like now combine with Lamborghini. And so they had a car that was sort of a Lamborghini, but it wasn't a Lamborghini, and just a whole lot of weird things where they were doing crazy stuff, but also cost cutting in weird ways. And, point being is that when you have these private equity firms that aren't in the automotive industry, you start getting decisions that are just made more for just like, how do we get some money out of this company, rather than like, how are we going to make like this car company actually mean something? And,
I don't think they care. I don't think
they won't care at all. I feel like,
No, they don't, because it's all about making money. And you're a company. You're in business to make money.
And even like the car company, you can say the same about the car companies themselves, like Volkswagen, Audi. They want to make money, but they're also in the realm of like, this is a car company, so we're making decisions for the longevity of being in the car industry versus, a private equity firm. And not to say bad about them, but again, their priority isn't to, maintain this brand image or anything of that sort. It's how much money can we get out of this and pull out of it until we pull out of it and do something else.
Well, I mean, times are tight, a lot of companies are pulling out of the EV game, and with gas prices being crazy and diesel prices being crazy and cost of barrel of oil's crazy high right now, it's kind of a weird place to be. And also, too, another thing I didn't think about this is that, most cars built within the last 10, 15 years, maybe even 20 years, let's say 15 years, built within the last 15 years can easily go 100,000 miles or more. Easily. Almost every car out there go easily 100,000 miles, right? So I kind of wonder, do we need to be buying new cars like all the time, quite regularly, if these cars are lasting? I think it's just a personal preference, really. Maybe new design, maybe some new tech, new screen, backup camera, seat warmers, who knows what. That's what it is. That's why Mercedes does so well. I've watched the Mercedes videos where they're constantly like, selling customers new cars, trading new cars in. Like, they have a car that's only like a year old and they're trading it in on some new Mercedes, who knows what, because it's got the leather stitching, and it's got like the different kind of seats, and it's got all this stuff, and it's got all the fancy system inside there and all the latest tech and all the new stuff. It's just a newer car. I mean, I get it. Some people have to have new stuff. And I kind of wonder if they're a car company. I've heard the story that like some people say car companies put flaws in their cars so they do break after 5 years. Yeah. So that makes you go buy a new one, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. I heard about that. I don't know if it's true or not. But I also heard about these cars going forever too. Like the running joke about the Toyota, like the old Toyota Camry, it's gone like 300,000 miles or whatever it's been, kind of a thing. So I don't know, man. I think that there's some people out there that have to buy the latest and greatest, like phones or cameras or cars or whatever it is. They have to have the newest thing every single time. And I don't know if it's because they think that the newest thing is going to last them longer, or if it's because they want the bragging rights of having the newest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and to be honest, like some people, I think people have different reasons for that. But to your point, like there's some people that really, they feel like, after 2 or 3 years, like I just got to be in something new. And I have wondered this though, where, like you said, like, cars are obviously more reliable than they are. Like, you got one-offs and, situations.
Yeah, you got to change your oil, kids, please, like just basic maintenance,
Yeah, you gotta still like participate in making these things, last longer.
Invincible.
Yeah. But to that point, and, kind of like you said, like, even though a lot of people are pulling out of the EV game, it's, when cars really become to that point of like, EVs and, really they're supposed to, outside of the battery technology, they're supposed to really be quote unquote somewhat bulletproof. It's like they don't have as many mechanical parts. The technology is obviously better than a lot of other cars out there. Like, some cars are still able to kind of still compete, but what really now at that point drives you to get into a new car when, there's no need to do it from a reliability standpoint. And then, you're not really going to get that much more tech advancement unless like you're getting, unless you're getting a car that has like a full on living room in the back seat or something. And
I've seen some cars, man. Let me tell you, some cars that look amazing and they look great. And I get like, once you get into the latest Mercedes, like fully specced out, I get it. Like I seen some of these, they look amazing. They got all the cool stuff. The seats are contoured to your body, for God's sakes. Like the whole thing just very tight, feel like a cockpit. And I'm sure it's even they're all the cars are like that. All of them really. But I think for me personally, the only reason I would consider getting a new vehicle, the same reason I got my last new vehicle, is because of reliability. Is the vehicle I have now going to make it any longer. If that's questionable, maybe I'll upgrade to something new. That's the only reason I ever upgraded to something new. But you can fix almost anything with money, obviously. Money makes the world go around. So if you have enough money, I kind of learned that with my other house too. My house had all issues and problems and stuff, but like enough money thrown at it, yeah, you can fix whatever.
You can fix it, yeah.
You can fix whatever. I guess cars are kind of the same way too. So when it comes to cars, it's like, I think people are just like, it's a depreciating asset. It keeps going down in value. I mean, it's hit the floor or whatever. Do I keep spending money on it to keep it going? Or do I just buy something new and don't worry about it?
Yeah.
So,
and if you're into that stuff too, like honestly, if you're into cars, you're into, and I think there's some special area reserved for just like special cars, like something that, a car that you see that like you're, like I enjoy like what that car like represents, or like, it's like a special model or something of that sort, like that. I feel like
they don't make anymore, like one they don't make anymore, like a 350Z, something no more,
Well, I mean, and that's like what we talk about all the time is like, I'm just such an advocate for like the used market, just like finding used cars that have like had their depreciation and are in a stage where you can buy that car, put in still some money and still be less than the newer version. One thing I was going to say, you were mentioning Mercedes and like their newer features, but I had a chance to drive like one of those old, like the early 2000s or early to mid E63 wagon back in the day. And it was like probably like 5 years ago now at this point. And the coolest thing outside of the fact that like this, this wagon that is practical, it even had like the rear facing back seats all the way in the back. So it was a 3-row essentially. It had, your middle row, but then it had a rear facing back seat in the back
like
as well.
A suicide seat, kind of weird jumper seat kind of thing.
Yeah, like it kind of sits down in the floor, but it folds out, and they're supposed to be safe, and you can, have your kids right back there. I'd be a little weary, but besides the fact that it also had like 500 horsepower even back then in the early 2000s, the thing was super quick and sounded insane. But the coolest thing was that, and this was a feature from the early 2000s, is that they had these like active side bolsters in the seats where when you corner, the bolsters actually come up on whatever side that you're leaning to like hold you into place. So it was like the best of both worlds, where you didn't want to necessarily have like a, fully bolstered seat that's like that all the time. But when you start getting in the curvy roads, the seat adjusts, for you to be more situated in it. And I was like so blown away by this, like, and it was at that point, it was like a 12, 13-year-old feature. But I'm like sitting here just like, man, this is like the coolest thing ever. I just think that there's things that are cool about older cars that, might not be the latest and greatest technology, but I'm all about like, finding like the quirks and things that like, we were doing back, 5-10 years ago that were the hot thing back then, and paying way less than I would to try and get the hot thing that is now,
That's the same thing with like phones. I remember when iPhone 4 came out, it was like my personal take is iPhone 4 when it came out was like the best phone like ever. It came out like it changed the game. It had like so many features, new features that we never saw before on a phone. Like no other phone came close to it. And of course other phones followed and things like that. But then we kind of hit this like plateau where like what is the greatest feature? Like maybe it's got more memory. Maybe it's got a better camera, or whatever.
When it comes to phones, I'm just so uninterested. That's like the one thing where I'm just so uninterested in new phones.
But I used to be. I'm back when the iPhone 4 came out, I was so into that. I was like, oh my gosh, this iPad's coming out. What's this cool thing? iPhone 4, and like had it was super cool. FaceTime came out. It was all super cool, Yeah. And now it's like, who cares? Like
it's like it's an inconvenience. Like if I break my phone or something and I have to get a new phone, because I'm like, I don't really care what new features it has. I'm just worried about the fact that I gotta like re-download all my contacts and get used to a new, which with the iPhones you're not really getting used to much because it's all the same.
Pretty simple. Pretty similar. Yeah, when you upgrade to iPhone, it's pretty simple. They make it pretty easy. I'm just saying that like I was on that you could upgrade every year plan on my carrier. Never took it. Never did it. Never did.
Yeah.
I just stay on the whatever phone I have, and so as long as I don't break it, if I break it, I'll take it in, that kind of thing. But I mean, I know some people have to buy the latest tech, to buy the latest whatever. I mean, I got a Mac Mini. It's one of the newer ones, but it's not like it's brand new. I didn't buy the thing yesterday. I bought the thing like a couple years ago, And then my laptop, which is like 6 years old laptop, I still use it today. I use it every single day. And I still use that. So I use old tech. It still works. Old cars still work. As long as they work fine, You don't have to get the latest and greatest to, I mean, I guess get whatever you want to get, whatever is your thing. I guess do your thing. Whatever makes you happy. Does it make you money? Make you happy. That's it.
But don't feel like you need to do it. That you need to do it just because, again.
That's be a good reason too. You get to figure out what that reason is.
Exactly.
And, what does it do for you? Does it make you happy? Does it make you money?
We talked about it before. You can easily play to keep up with the Joneses. I got to have the newest thing ever. And,
especially in cars. Cars, you definitely can do that in cars. If you have a neighborhood, your neighborhood, you can build cool cars right around the neighborhood. Everyone's like, ooh, cool car. Look at my cool car. Look at my cool car. You know what?
Funny enough, it's a lot of times here, though, it's like it's older cars.
Even
my
still,
buddy got that's true. Yeah, you can still get into the same deal.
And you can still spend a lot of money on old cars, especially older ones. But I remember the other house I owned, I had all the coolest cars in the neighborhood. I think even the last house I came out of, I think I owned about a Corvette, though, I think in there. I see I think one of the houses. But other than that, I owned all the cool cars there too, for the most part. And people used to say oh, you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. I said, dude, I am the Joneses.
I am the.
What are you talking about?
I am Jones.
Yeah. Keep up with me or whatever. But no, I never even today I pulled in back in here and the guy sitting outside the grass here out front. He's like, that's a really nice, cool car. Or something he said to me. I drove the Z in here. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, appreciate it. So I say that a lot, and I do get that a lot with the car. And that's one thing I have about the old car is that it still got that cool vibe. People still liked it when they saw me drive it. They always said cool car a lot and things like that. So it's a cool feeling when people do appreciate the car you have. Even especially when it's an old car, that's not really worth a ton, but it's a lot of fun and it looks cool, and I enjoy driving it.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
If you enjoy it, like I said, that's where it's at. Do what makes you happy. But if you're doing it because you think that I'm gonna enjoy it because everybody else enjoys it, or I gotta do it because my neighbor's got a Z, I gotta have a Z too, or or
BMW or Mercedes or Audi or whatever it is. Kind of thing. You got
it's just chasing the tail at the end of the day,
It is. So. It is. Well, Courage has been fantastic. Where can everybody find your amazing YouTube channel?
Yep. Thanks for the plug. And I love that I can actually use this a little more often, but check out the Driven Dad 22 on YouTube, Instagram, all kinds of car stuff going on, and a couple recaps I'll do of some things we might talk about on the pod too. So feel free to check it out.
And I'll put the links to it in the show notes down below. You click on down there. It'll be linked to that, linked to everything. You can follow everything at coolcarswithchris.com. Social links, YouTube links, all links on links on links.
Links on links on.
They're all right there.
That's got to be a t-shirt down the road. Links on links on links.
Our links, all links. They're all there at coolcarswithchris.com. And we'll catch you on the very next episode.